Okay, welcome everybody to Healy for Beginners and Beyond for Thursday, March 24th, 2022. Jake Barron, Head of Operations for the Americas for Healy World, and I will be your host today along with my amazing co-host, Freddie Perez. And we have the great Miguel helping out in the chat on today's call. So if you have any questions, you can find him in the chat under Healy Tech Support. Go ahead and ask him questions throughout the call. We'll also typically try to get to a few during the call. For this format's a little bit different than Healy Tech Tip Tuesday that we have every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. That one's an open Q&A where we just take questions from the chat, answer them live on the air. This call, we have an agenda or sort of a list of topics we want to cover each week or each time that we do this call, actually. And we'll go through those. We'll see if there's any questions along the way that we can kind of answer as we're going. And if there is time at the end, we can certainly do a little bit of Q&A as well. But for today, we had this call specifically because we wanted to go into a deep dive on the HealAdvisor Analyse app, specifically the master key. So we're going to start with our usual, we do for this call, the unboxing, quick downloading of the apps. Then we'll go to an initial setup of the Analyse app, and then we're going to answer a bunch of master key questions. So there's a lot of people that when they first get their Healy, first questions ranging from what is a master key, why do I need it, where do I save it, why do I need to back it up, how often do I need to do that, what if I lose it, and then we're also going to show today on the call a feature that's not used too often, but people get questions on it about how to activate a device, another smart device with an existing master device. So we'll show you what exactly that means and when you might want to use that particular feature. So we got several different devices connected today. I got an iPhone and an iPad and then my laptop here. So we'll try to cover as much as we can on today's call. And then also we're going to talk a little bit about all the resources that we have available to everybody as well. So we'll go ahead and get started with the unboxing here. And there's one new thing for the first time I'll show you here in a minute, something new for the unboxing that hasn't really been a new feature or on the Healy device itself. So let me stop this here. Okay. So first thing, the Healy device comes in this nice little Healy branded box. This is typically always inside, well, it will always be inside of a shipping box itself as well. And most orders these days are for a Healy device, a Healy coil as well. And then also, other than those two things, typically the other things you'll have in the box are this little plastic bag that has a pair of wristband electrodes. So this doesn't come in the actual Healy packaging, it's separate. So when you're opening your Healy box for the first time, definitely be on the lookout for this so you don't throw this away with any of the packaging or fill paper that's in there. And then in the box as well, you'll find a packing slip that has your order information on it, which is always just it's got the order date, order information, good to have on hand. And on the bottom of the box here, it's always a blank spot here. There's no branding on there. So feel free. This is a sticker, the packing slip. So you can just put that on there and then set the box aside after you've unpacked everything. And you can keep all your accessories in there and you'll be ready to sort of access everything at ease if you ever need to reference anything again in the future. So this is shrink wrapped from the factory. I already have mine opened here, but you just take that shrink wrap off, open it up, and then the first thing you'll see here is a little quick start guide. This first one is a very short, it's like 4 or 5 page guide with some information about what comes in the box itself, what the indicator lights are. It just takes a minute to read through, so go ahead and do that. And then underneath, there's a longer instructions for use document. So this one is an important read as well, but you don't necessarily need to go into this right away because you're going to want to start to charge your device first because that takes a couple hours. But this is definitely great information. If you've never used a Healy before, a must read as well. But underneath that, you'll see the Healy device. So We just finished up a transition sort of from a version of the Healy that had a plastic clip to a newer version that has a metal clip. So as of this week, all Healys that are shipping out of the warehouse are the version that has the metal clip on it. So um, when we get to that, I'll show you exactly what the difference is between the two if you haven't seen the one with the metal clip before. But on the Healy device itself, it's a very simple looking device. There's one button on the front and two indicator lights. So there's a Bluetooth light on one side that flashes blue when it's connected to Bluetooth. And then there's a power light on the other side. And that button flashes as well. It's a green light that flashes during use of the Healy. And it also comes on when you're charging the device. So on the back side of the Healy, you'll find, again, the clip that's pre-installed here. There's some Healy manufacturing information up top, and then on the bottom, you have some QR codes and your serial number listed there as well. So if you're using here one of, the Pink Dot apps, it'll ask you to scan the code, and typically you can scan that. Some of the newer iPhones, there's some difficulty actually scanning those QR codes on here, and you might just have to type it in. So if that happens, if you're struggling trying to scan it and it doesn't work, just go ahead and type in that serial number and you'll be able to get on to the next step. And you typically don't really need to enter that serial number very often unless you do a hard reset or something like that on your device. So it's not too big of an issue there. Underneath on the bottom side here of the Healy, you have a micro USB port on one side, and then on the other side, you have the two connection cable ports on the other side. And other than that, on the Healy device itself, again, very, very simple there. I'm just going to show real quick the difference. So here's one that has the plastic clip, and here's one here that has the metal clip. So, they look fairly similar, the side profile. The metal one's a little bit sleeker, doesn't stick out sort of as much there as the plastic clip, if you'll see. And the plastic one, if you do have one of these, say in a box still that you haven't opened up yet, there's a lanyard attachment in there that you can actually remove the plastic clip, put the small lanyard attachment onto this Healy device. And then you can hook a lanyard, like a lot of people like to use a little Healy lanyard or something like that with their device, and you can kind of switch back and forth. So in the newer version, the clip is not removable in the newer version, but if you want to use a lanyard, you'll see at the top here, there's a hole sort of built into the actual clip. So you can actually use the clip, and then you can also use the lanyard as well at the same time. So it looks like it's a bit of a smaller hole than maybe the lanyard attachment, but typically all the lanyards that have the standard sort of clip on it here will fit on this newer clip version as well. So, and then again, this QR code also that I mentioned on the back here, you will also find that same information on the side of the box that we showed here earlier. So you'll see the QR codes listed and the serial numbers listed there as well. So another place that you can reference this. And then underneath where we took the Healy out of the box, if you just pop this tray out here, you'll see the accessories that come with the Healy. So first thing you're going to want to grab here is this little short micro USB charging cable. So you're going to take that out, take off the little twist tie here. And then you'll see where we showed earlier the micro USB port. You're going to line up the micro USB side of this cable with that. And the micro USB can only be inserted in one direction. It's not universal where you can sort of flip it. So make sure you have the longer side of the micro USB lined up with the Healy. Insert it right in there. It makes a little bit of a clicking noise when it inserts. And then plug this other end into pretty much any high quality USB charging block. And people have tons of these around, whether it's from your cell phone or one of the multiple hub sort of USB devices as well. Just make sure you use a good quality wall charger and don't charge it the first time from your laptop or something like that. To take a lot longer. So we always recommend the wall charger. And as soon as you plug this in, that green power light that I mentioned earlier, that's going to come on and it will stay green until it's fully charged. So that's how you know when it's ready to go. If you see it sitting over there on the wall, that green light went off, you know you're good to go. And you can go ahead and start it up and get connected for the first time. And other than that, as far as what's in the box, we have a pair of connection cables on one side. So these on one end, they have the part here that actually plugs into the Healy device itself. So opposite side of where the micro USB goes, you'll see here that those go right in on the other side. That's a snug fit, but make sure you fully insert those or you're gonna have issues when you're using the Pink Dot app later with the conductivity showing up as a black line around the circle instead of the white line. And then on the other side is the snap for the wristband electrodes or the adhesive electrodes. So I'm using my Healy right now with the wristband electrodes, and you see here I have the cables attached to my Healy, and then I have the electrode or the connection cable just snapped onto my wristband electrodes here. And so if you aren't using the wristbands, many of the programs certainly call for, or really can only be used with these adhesive electrodes, which is the last thing inside the box. So each Healy comes with 2 pairs of these adhesive electrodes. And these can be reused multiple times. So these aren't single use. So there's only 2 pairs, but you can get many, many uses out of each of these as well, especially if you're careful with cleaning them after each use. But these, similar thing, there's a snap on one side, obviously adhesive on the other. You would just snap this on to the adhesive electrode, peel it off, and then put it where it's indicated for whatever issue you're trying to help at the time, whether it might be something in your lower back or your elbow or your shoulder, something like that. You're going to put those typically around 6 inches or so apart minimum, and really nothing too complicated about that. They're very sticky, so be careful when you're placing those as well. And you can order more of these adhesive electrodes from our website. They are available in our shop at us.healy.shop in the accessories section. So if you ever need more of those, you can go ahead and just order a couple more pairs to have on hand for the future. And see, other than that, as I mentioned earlier, this instructions for use booklet is, I think this one's around 20 plus pages long. So a good thing to do is after you've plugged your Healy in and it's charging, you have that 1 to 2 hours or so till it's fully charged. Good time to kind of just review the instructions for use document for the first time. Also, it's a great time to sort of watch some of the getting started videos that are available on Healy Academy at academy.healy.world. And then also, we have a ton of recordings now available on our YouTube page at HealAmerica's.com. All these calls that we're doing here are recorded and indexed, so you can kind of skip from segment to segment. Those are a great resource as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about those later on in the call. But for now, we're going to kind of get into where do you download the apps and what do you do the first time that you want to get connected. So I'm going to pass it over to Freddie for this next segment, and we'll help you out with getting connected.
Awesome. Well, excellent job as always, Jake. So if you'll just give me a minute here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen from my iPhone today.
Sure.
And we'll get started with this side of it. All right. Very good. All right. So today I'm using my iPhone 11. And so the first thing that you'll want to do, as Jake mentioned, as your Healy is charging, you're kind of reviewing, you also want to go into your smart device. And again, you'll simply go in this case, I'm going to go into the App Store, right? And when I open this up, I already have it loaded up here, but you can type into search Healy Analyse or HealAdvisor Analyse, and then you're going to see this little icon, right? See that little icon there with the blue dot? And so we affectionately call this the blue dot app. And so the first time it's going to say get, but I've already had this loaded. So I want you to notice the little cloud right about the middle of the screen on the left side, little cloud with that downward arrow. I'm going to go ahead and tap that, and that's going to start to reload this program. Okay. And so when it completes the load, right, it's going to give me an icon that's going to look just like that one up there, that little gray Healy icon with the blue dot on it. And then we're going to open it up. And again, this is the Analyze app. Okay. And now you'll see that the open button has appeared. So I'm going to go ahead and tap open. Okay. Now it's going to take me to that app. Excuse me. And it's going to ask for some permissions. The first one is the Bluetooth. So you want to make sure that your Bluetooth is turned on your phone, and then you just need to tap OK. The next screen is going to show you the release notes. And this is giving you some accountability of what's going on as far as what may have been done to improve the app. And you'll just X them out up there in that top right. You exit out. And at this point, you'll want to go ahead and just turn your Healy on, right? It's already been charged. So give it one good click and you'll see the green light start to flash. And then this is the notice at the bottom. You'll just tap next. And now it's going to ask down at the bottom, I have a Healy, or I'm interested in a Healy. Well, I have a Healy, so I'm going to tap that button. Now, this is very important, right? It's going to say login. So I'm just going to tap that login button. Again, it's going to ask permission to connect to the Healy. Of course, I'm going to say yes. Now it's going to start searching. What it's doing is that the Bluetooth chip inside the Healy device is connecting with the Bluetooth chip on your smart device. And now they shook hands and it's found my Healy. So what I call the Healy bar, you see where it says Healy? Underneath it, it populated the SN or the serial number for your device. And you'll see to the right, it says not connected. All you have to do is just tap right there. And now it's going to confirm that SN number. And it's going to start connecting as you see there. Now we'll see it's connected. And then it's just going to take you to the login page. And now we have your email, not your username, but your email for your member account. So let me go ahead and type that in here for us. So once you have your email account or address in there, then you're going to have to put in your password. Once you have your password, you'll see there's 3 additional little permissions underneath. So on the right, they look like sliders, but all you have to do is just tap each one and you'll see they move into blue. And then once that happens, you'll see the login button is now that bright magenta color. You just simply tap login. So now here, because I've loaded this device prior, the first time it's going to say save master key. In this case, it says import master key. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap that import master key. And we're going to go through a process here in a minute. So you'll see I have several master keys in here, several different devices. But I want you to understand that whether you own one Healy device or you own multiple Healy devices, your account is only going to be issued one master key, right? So I'm going to go ahead and tap the file that it's going to recognize. And then after it recognizes it, it's going to take us to this screen where it says import successful. And now I'm going to tap the OK button. Now the screen is going to change here. And at the bottom, it's going to ask me to sync changes. So I'm going to go ahead and tap that sync changes. It's letting me know here that if I'm using mobile or Wi-Fi, that I want to go ahead and continue. I just go ahead and say yes. So now it starts the syncing process. There's going to be 2 different syncing processes. So remember, what's happening is that it's recognized your SN number. It's going to make sure all of the programs, whether it's the residence or above model, all those in the pink dot app, they're going to get populated here. All the ones that are already in the blue dot, that they're getting populated. So you just saw that screen move pretty rapidly across. That was the first sync process. And now this is the second. And you'll notice underneath here, it's saying downloading databases, right? That's what we all want. We want to have access to those databases so that we can go in and enjoy running the programs from our blue dot app. And as you can see here, depending on the connectivity, your signal is going to be really determining how fast this download goes. So if you're in your home, for example, using Wi-Fi, you have multiple devices that are using that signal connection, it may take a little bit longer. If you're coming back like I am today and you have larger databases, right, your lists are longer, you have bigger clients, it may also take a little bit longer for this to get completed. But just be patient and let it go through the whole process here of downloading your databases, your list. And when it's done, and you'll see here, we're in the 90s, it's going to be just a moment, then we'll be able to come in and do some more investigation here on how we're going to use the app. Wonderful. Successful synchronization is completed. I'm just going to tap OK. It opens up to this home page, right? The residence and the aura analysis. First thing we're going to do, though, is I want to come down to the very bottom on the right-hand side. You can barely see it there. It's a little cogwheel. That's a settings button. So when you tap that open, you'll see here some more information. And the very first thing that you'll want to do at this time, you see that second button that says cloud settings. We want to go ahead and tap that one open. Again, here it indicates that your email is connected with your account is there. And here's where you'd be able to log out. This is to take special note. If you opened up in demo mode, you'd want to come here to log out and then log back in. So we're in the right account. Here you can also edit your cloud profile if you need to. The most important thing at this time is about midway down. You see where it says backup master key? Let's go ahead and open up that screen. Now you'll notice here it says save master key. So again, if you initially were just activating your blue dot, that's what you'd see. Save master key, not import. So I'm going to go ahead and save this master key. So what we're going to look at now is backing up that master key. So you'll see down on the vertical, it says save to files. Again, your initial activation, that's what you would click. On the iPhone, you click save to files. It's going to open up iCloud Drive. You'll tap that. You'll see downloads. You'll tap that. Then you'll save. Now it's saved to the hard drive of your smart device. Very important that's done first. This is the second step to come in and back it up. So on the horizontal, right? So you'll see I'm moving here, this horizontal. What we want to look at or look for is a mail or email icon. And then you want to tap that open. It's automatically going to populate, as you can see in the mid screen, the master key file. And what you'll want to do is to send it to yourself. So you just tap open where it says to in my case. And I'm just going to go ahead and put one of my emails in here. And once I've done that, on the subject line, I'm just going to type in here my master key. And then I'll also suggest that look at the last 4 digits and numbers of your Healy device, right? And you can go ahead and type those in here. So mine is A1, A7. And then the final piece of that is to date stamp it. So if I just come in here and I put in, for example, 3.24.22, now I know on this day, I save this master key and those are the last 4 numbers and digits, especially useful if you have multiple Healys, okay? Now all you do in this case is I'm going to tap that little arrow at the top. It's now going to save that master key as a backup, and we're back here to this screen. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move back over.
Hey Freddie.
Yes.
While we're on the backup master key, so this question comes up quite a bit where it's, okay, you might set up your Healy for the first time. You have, when you first saved your master key, say you saved it to iCloud or some sort of Google Drive or whatever. So it's available there sort of regardless where you are. So the question comes up, why do I need to back up my master key if I have access to it everywhere and I'm doing full syncs and whatever, and it's constantly sort of saving? So, you know, there's certain situations, of course, where you would want to have it in more than one place in case something happens, right? Because, you know, you come across a lot of people that you help that they can't find their master key anymore, or they thought they emailed it, but that email is no longer there or something like that. So I think that, that's a feature. Like I had mine in iCloud. So actually for the first year I was here, I only had one master key. And then I was actually, it was about 2 months ago. I just clicked the backup master key because I had never done it before on my own device. So now, in my iCloud, I see two different master keys, the original one, then the backup one, which both are the same. They both work. They're the same. They all link to the same data in the cloud. But yeah, I think a
No,
lot of people aren't clear on, thinking that you need to back it up every single week or something like that, which isn't necessarily the case as long as you have access to it and you can sync to it. So
no, very, very valid points. And I touched my screen a little too fast because I didn't want to leave from here anyway. But no, great points there. And here's another reason. You know, our wonderful cellular industry gives us deals, and maybe it's time to upgrade your phone. Well, that's another reason to back it up to an email, because once, let's just say you went from an Apple 11, and you want to go get the new 13, for example, and you want to load up your pink and your blue dot apps onto your new phone. Okay, that's easy enough done. But when we get into the blue, we have to have that master key. So on your new phone, you just have to have access to that email address that you saved it to. And then once it's there, then you'll be able to go retrieve it and load it up to the hard drive of your new Apple 13 in this case. Okay, so that's another, and I see a lot of that happening,
yeah.
and so again, saving it to the hard drive gives you access on your current device, and you don't have to worry about it. If something happens, as Jake mentioned, and it asks you to import it, and you don't save it there, that file that I showed you a moment ago, it won't show up. Now, if it doesn't show up, you can always type in the little search bar, Healy Master Key. If it doesn't show up, don't know why, but that's okay. If you have it backed up, you can go retrieve it and then reload it as we did to the hard drive of your smart device. Okay.
Yeah, and
The other,
sometimes when you're saving files, especially to say like iCloud or whatever, sometimes a lot of people have a ton of folders, and then they might have it by default. Sometimes it goes to the last used folder, and there might not be one that you want to actually save your master key to because you don't access it as easily. So, I have a folder called Healy on my iCloud. That's where I save my master key too. So I know exactly where to find that as well.
very, very great point. And the other thing about our phones and our storage with them and saving those files, if your storage starts to diminish and you have less and less storage, sometimes they'll try to fight for that space, right? And that master key, if it gets kind of bumping heads with one of the other saved files in there, we just don't want it to get in a position where there could be some corruption going on, right? You got them trying to merge a little bit. That could also cause for your master key to be requested to import it again, right? So very important. That's why we need to look at doing that. Okay. Now, if you look on the screen too, you'll see where it says synchronization. Then right underneath it, it says the mobile data connection for sync. The reason why you would want that on is if you're, for example, in your home and you're using your Wi-Fi connection, but then you leave, right? You go out in public and you want to come in and you want to use this Blue Dot app, but you're not in a place where you can have Wi-Fi. You'll want this turned on so that it can use the mobile data connection on your smart device, on your phone. Otherwise, you can leave it off. The one underneath, it says automatic sync. So this one, I tend to suggest to leave that one turned off unless you're in a need to use it. And so what does that really mean? So let's say that I'm going to come in, I want to do a session, and I'm going to do it on me. And then Jake's a friend of mine and say, hey, Jake, would you? And he says, yes. Well, I want to save his data. So I want it to automatically sync into the databases, his information. Otherwise, if it's just me, I can just turn that off. I can turn it on and off at will. But the one that I always suggest to leave on is the list sync, right? Leave that enabled. That list sync is where all of the results from your scans, whether it be from your resident or your Aura, that's where it's going to populate into your list. Okay, we're going to look at that here in a moment. Underneath it says sync changes. The very bottom it says full synchronization. That is like the update button here on our blue dot. But here's what you need to look at. Right above it, it says the last sync 4 minutes ago, right when we actually came in and did that sync process. Here's what you need to be aware of. Underneath it, it says changes waiting for sync. So you'll see mine 0 because it's all synced. And what does that really mean? What that means, if there was a 1 or more instead of that 0, one of the programs needs to be updated in this app. At that time, you'll want to press that full synchronization and let it update, right? So again, that full synchronization is just like an update for this Blue Dot app. Anything else you'd like to add here before we move on?
No, that's not on this
Okay.
section. No, so I think, you know, again, we mentioned we're going to kind of go into deep dive on the master key as well. And Freddie mentioned it earlier about what, you know, there's one master key per account. You could have 10 Healys, you're going to have one master key. So then we also get the question, of course, well, how does that master key know which programs to load onto my device? If I have 10 different devices, say one's a professional, one's a gold, one's a residence, one's a holistic. And it's like, okay, well, how does it know? So the master key itself is only tied to the data in the cloud. It's tied to your clients, tied to your list. It doesn't have anything to do with the actual programs that get loaded onto your Healy. So all the programs, the app modules, the different editions, that's all determined by the serial number. So when you connect to your Healy, as Freddie showed earlier, say you have 10 different devices to pick from, whichever one you select, that's the one that's going to get loaded into the Analyze app, and it's going to look to see, okay, for this serial number, which programs are available for that device. It's going to pull them in. If you have the coaching module, it's going to show the coaching module. If it has the residence, it'll show the residence. If you have just the aura, it would just show the aura. So that's kind of how that works. And then collectively, for all those 10 devices, you can share the data, the cloud data, the clients and everything. So regardless of which device you're working on, you can still pull from the same clients and list and things like that. So, and then that's why the master key is so heavily encrypted. It's a 4,000 plus character file. Like if you've ever actually clicked on the file, it's a .json file, but if you actually click on it and open it, it's just like, you can't make any sense of this. So there's, it's super secure. But that's also why, because it's client data, it's lists, it's sort of personal information that has to be that heavily protected. So.
Right, 4,096 characters.
Yeah.
One character changes, that master key is done,
Yeah.
right? So that's where we're looking. What I wanted to do here is just kind of just briefly go through. So this is the bottom left. There's a little house. It opens up to this at the top. You see it says administration. When you tap on the client, right? So you'll see here, add a new client. So when I tap here, here's going to be a list, right? This list. And so I'm a person. Wait a minute. What is it going to put me in here as? Let me do that again. Tapped it too quick. I'm going to do add a new client and tap person. And when you do that, this form is going to open up, right? And so what I want you to be looking at here at the top on the right side, you see that little check mark? It's kind of that faded blue color. That's a save button. So let me show you what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to put my name in here, right? Now you see it changed to white. Now you can come in here and do a lot of things, right? The first time or anytime, come in and record your vibration. But then you can also look at all of this other information. The more information that you put in here, the more it's going to look at you as an individual, right? Versus just another Freddie that we may have in here. So just for this example, I'm just going to put my name. I'm just going to go ahead and put that I'm a male, not a female there, right? And that's all I'm going to put in here at this time. But down at the very bottom, see where it says synchronize client data and related analysis to the cloud. So again, this is that situation where if you want to save my information for future use, or if this was yours, then I want you to go ahead and tap that button. Then up at the top, I want you to go ahead and tap that white check mark. That is like a save button. You'll see this little drop down screen. And yes, I want it to sync. So I'm going to click it. It says it's been saved. I'm going to go ahead and tap yes. Moves us back to this page. So now I'm going to click Residence Analysis, right? And I'm going to go ahead and continue to the database selection. And here is where you'll see the database. It's in an ascending order alphabetically. So you can come in here and choose which program that you actually want to run. Okay. You want me to do a little demo here, or do we want to move on?
Yeah, let's do a short demo, because we can cover one of the frequently asked questions here that comes up. Just click on maybe all Healy programs or something. And,
okay. And so here now you'll see I clicked on it. You'll see up at the top it has my name. So it's going to analyze me. So I'm going to click Start Analysis. Here you'll see where you put your finger, index or thumb. Doesn't matter. I'm going to use my index finger.
Yeah.
You just simply place your finger on the screen and you'll see the waves moving across the screen. What it's doing, it's taking the all Healy programs and it's starting that analysis.
Yeah.
And when
definitely one of the top 10 FAQs for new users for Healy is, what is it doing with my fingerprint? Like we're not saving your fingerprint scan to the cloud or anything like that. This is more so the purpose here is you're supposed to be focused on the program itself, not driving with your finger on the phone while you're in the middle of traffic and road rage and all that kind of stuff, because that's certainly going to influence the results if you're sort of focused on other things other than the Healy device at that time. So that's one thing that is definitely a common question that we get there.
Yeah, we're not taking your fingerprint and going to send it to the FBI. Don't worry, you're good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, all right. So again, the analysis has been completed. Gives me that time and date stamp up at the top. And then of course, here's what it gives me back as the results.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, sorry, back on that other screen, you saw that took maybe 15, 20 seconds or so for the bar to go across the screen. And how long that takes depends on the actual size of the database that's being analyzed. So all Healy programs, not too long. If you do something like creative homeopathy, it can take minutes, several minutes to actually process all the way. So if you're going through this and you're like, well, why did this particular program set take so much longer? There's nothing wrong with the Healy or phone or anything like that. It's just, it depends on the amount of data that's being analyzed and the programs that are being analyzed.
Yeah, very great point. So one of the things that I like to point out here, right? So here's my results. And then at the bottom, it says, please select. And when I tap that, please select, right, it's going to give me choices where I can come in and change the duration here. But the next button down below is actions. And when I tap actions, I can either create a PDF that I can save to myself, or if this was Jake and I wanted to send it to him, I could do that as well. Or I could click vibrate. And so when you click the vibrate, here's where I said the duration. Here's where you're going to be able to change that. We're at the bottom where it says select transmission duration. It defaults to the 1 minute and 20 seconds. But when you click the screen, here's where you could come in and change it, right? Go all the way up to 8 hours. What we're going to do just for this example here, I'm just going to do a quick 3 seconds for an example. And then what we do is we're going to tap start. And then you'll see.
And this particular program, you'll notice that, say you set this for a longer period of time, several minutes, hour, whatever, this is a program that you have to have open all the time. You can't have this running in the background. Like the Pink Dot app, which is more common. That one's obviously, it's a little bit simpler to use because there's not as many different sort of steps involved in it. But that one, you can actually turn the Bluetooth off and sort of have it on in the background, let the program continue to run. This one, you have to have it open at all times and have a constant Bluetooth connection because it's constantly adjusting and reading as you go.
Excellent point. So you saw I only set it for 3 seconds, but in those 3 seconds, what it ran through were all 5 of these examples. And you'll see the start button is there again. So if I hit start, it's going to do the same thing. And you see how the screen is scrolling up? That's indication that it's quickly going through each one of those. So as Jake said, again, depending on the length, if I changed it to 17 seconds or it came down here for 26 minutes, a lot of folks tend to lean towards that 12 minutes and 40 seconds between that one and the one above it, the 5 minutes to get started, to let your body get acclimated with the frequencies in the program.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And on the program itself, another question certainly a lot of people have are what do the percentages mean? And you'll see here there's a 53, a 52, a 51, 51. And that's after it analyzed all Healy programs. Out of all of those, it sort of ranks in order of priority of the ones that you could benefit from the most, the ones that you would need the most. So when you're going through this, a lot of times many people will do a scan. They'll check for all Healy programs, and then they might go back and say, okay, Healy stimulation programs, go back and do another scan to sort of, narrow down to within Healy stimulation, which one to run, maybe in the Pink Dot app, something like that. So you can do that, and just note that just because it says 53% here doesn't mean when you go and run Healy stimulation programs separately, that a program is going to come up at 53% or more, because you're looking. This analysis was all Healy programs, and it's comparing to all the programs available. Once you go and run it within Healy stimulation, the percents might be different. You might not have one that's as high as 53%. You might have one that's at 50% or in the 40s. You might have several that are in the 40s as well. But again, just always go with the top one. Just trust the results as far as that goes. There's no real need to try to second guess what's going on there. So. Freddie, you're muted.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, so I was just saying, just moving back over here to the home screen. I know we've covered some of the topics today.
Yeah, actually, I think next would be a good time to show a feature that I think a lot of people probably have never used before. It's the activate device with existing master device. So, you can if you want. I have mine. My device is hooked up, ready to go here. If you want to stop sharing, I'll share mine.
Perfect.
Okay. So let me go back here. I'm gonna have to switch back and forth a couple times here, so just bear with me. All right.
So okay, great.
Okay, so this, in front of me, I also have an iPhone, which for me is considered my master device. That's the one that I use all the time with my Healy. And then I have an iPad as well. So this iPad that I have here that's showing on the screen has never been hooked up to my account, the Analyze app, anything like that. I downloaded the app. At this step here, I've already put in my ID and password and did the 3 toggles that Freddie did, but it doesn't have any data. It doesn't know what to pull from yet. So it's saying, okay, this is the part where normally, majority of the time you would just click import master key, pull the master key in from wherever you have it saved, and then go from there. But say you have your master key is only on the hard drive of your phone or that device, or it's not easily accessible for you on the other device you want to be able to use your Healy on as well. So say rather than emailing it to the other device or saving it in the cloud and then trying to figure out how to get from the cloud or get to the cloud from your other device, you just want to say, okay, iPad, talk to the iPhone and make them work together. It's basically what this is trying to do here. So if you go and click, so instead of import master key, right below, clicked activate device with existing master device, it's going to say master key needed. Please use your master device to activate the master key for this device in the cloud settings in the menu connected cloud devices. So I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to go back and show you on my iPhone what it looks like in the connected cloud devices, because that's where you actually have to enable the connection between these two devices. So let me now, I got to stop sharing this. And I'm going to go and share from my iPhone. Okay. Share screen. Okay, let me start this. And here we go. I want to open up the Analyze app here. I have it open already. So to get to connected cloud devices, which is set on the iPhone or the iPad, sorry, I'm going to go to settings at the bottom right, cloud settings. And then if I go to connected cloud devices, which is where it's said to go to, you'll see the accepted keys. So actually, I just realized I have to have the app open. When I switch back to Zoom on the iPad, it closed out. So I'm going to open that back up so we can do this. And then it'll show here. It'll pop up here in a minute after I click this. Sorry.
And thank you, Miguel, for posting that academy.healy.world in the chat. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I had to go back to the main screen and go back to it. So now you'll see here at the top, there's a pending key for that iPad, and you'll see there's a little red circle with a minus and then a blue circle with a check. So it's asking basically, do you want to give the key to the iPad? So you'll just click the blue thing right here with the check mark, and then you'll see accepted keys, Jake's iPhone and then the iPad. So basically, I had done a step here earlier to where the first time that you click the key management section, your master device, so just like it said for the iPad, there was an option to either check or minus. For your master device, so for my Jake's iPhone earlier today, this was the first time I had done that. Next to my iPhone, there was a check and a minus. So you have to enable your master device with a check mark, click check, and then the device as well that you're trying to connect with that same check mark. So now if we go back to, let me.
And Jake, if we can interject here,
Yeah.
when we're talking about the master device is the device, whether it would have been Jake's iPhone or his iPad, where he initiated the original activation for the blue dot. Okay, that would be considered the master device.
Yeah, it's not talking about the master Healy device, the master whatever. It's just the master smart device essentially.
Correct.
But so let me go back now, and you'll see here that screen where it said the master key screen where it said connect to the connected devices from the other device. As soon as I clicked that check mark on my iPad, it immediately went away and it went to sync changes. So if I go to sync changes here, it's going to go through that same process that Freddie showed earlier. But now, as soon as it's done, all the data in the master key is now available on the iPad. Even though I haven't saved the master key to the iPad, it's not physically saved anywhere on it. It's accessing that data from the cloud via that master device. So, and if I were to say add a new client, so I enabled my iPad, it's now working. I have both my iPhone and iPad working. If I'm doing work on the iPad, adding clients, adding lists, whatever, that will actually save to the cloud as well. So once you sync on the iPad, it's going to save to the cloud. And then once you do a full sync on your iPhone, anything you did in your iPad will now show also on your iPhone. So they're connected there as well. So it's kind of a neat feature, which, again, it's not necessarily needed in every situation, but I can certainly see how this can come in handy. So now we're fully synced up, and this iPad here now has my data here from that I had from the iCloud itself. I don't have a lot of clients and lists, just some random stuff from me and from some of the shows that we've done, but so there's not a lot there. But just keep in mind that, and then also once you're using, so on this iPad here, I can now physically save a copy of the master key on this device. So if I go to settings here, go to cloud settings, backup master key, save master key, it's going to ask me, I'm just going to save it to my files. Sure, click save. So now if I go to files here, you'll see I have the master key that was just saved here. So I was basically able to get the master key saved to this iPad without having to actually send it from my phone to the device via email or via sort of a shared cloud storage or anything like that. So it's another sort of workaround, and it's a good option.
No, it's an excellent, it's like you now have those two devices that are mirroring each other. Yep. With the blue dot. Now, one of the things I don't know, Jake, I don't know if you may know, let's say, for example, I have an Android phone, but I've got an iPad. Will this step work for that combination?
So that is a great question, and I have not tried it, but it should. It's not related to operating system. It's related to smart device. So maybe that's a good thing that we can sort of confirm on one of the next calls. Miguel just told me that it would. So awesome. Thank you, Miguel. So it doesn't matter going from iOS to Android. So yeah, that's a good thing as well, because a lot of times if someone switches from one operating system to the other, maybe they had their master key in iCloud, and iCloud is not available to the Android device or something like that. So it's another way.
So I think the key there is going to be to make sure that your Bluetooth are both open and on your different devices. Yes. That way they can communicate.
Definitely. And just, make sure it all starts with your master device. You have to go to that connected settings or connected devices, enable your master device to have the key with that blue check or the blue circle check mark, then go to your device, connect it as well, request to activate with the master device, then go back to your master device. That new device will show up, click check mark, and then you're good to go from there. So
excellent.
Yeah. Okay, we only got a couple minutes left here, Freddie. We could want to go through some of the resources available here real quick, or?
Yes, give me just a second. I'll be right back, okay?
Okay, all right. We're gonna go ahead, and I will just want to share some of the resources that we have available to us. So I'll share my non-smart device screen here. Okay. All right, so here we have, this is one of the newer resources that we have, but I think it's becoming one of our most important resources when it comes to actual tech support and learning about Healy. So this is our Healy World Americas page on YouTube. You can get to just going to HealyAmericas.com, very simple, or you can go to YouTube and search for Healy World Americas to get to our page. And then here, this is where we post basically all of our calls. So you'll see here, our What's Up Wednesday from yesterday is already added to here. But if you click on playlist, there's 4 different playlists. We have Frequencies and Friends, which is a new call. So there's only one of those, but we got What's Up Wednesday, Tech Tip Tuesday, and Healy for Beginners and Beyond. So say you want to review, you weren't able to join Tech Tip Tuesday this past week, and you want to see what was covered. So let's click on the Tech Tip Tuesday. Oh, sorry. I wanted to actually click view full playlist. And I'm going to go to the one from this week, March 22nd. So pause it here. But if you go down here and in the description section, click show more. And then this is the basically every single thing that we covered on this call. So if you want to find out, there was someone asked, why aren't the ear clip electrodes available in the US? And we explained on this call because of some of the regulations that differ throughout the world, that those aren't available here at this time. We talked a lot about, you know, this call here, something about the coils, blue screen on our Analyse app. So you can just go back and review all the different parts, and you see the different chapters here. If you click on any of these hyperlinks, it's going to take you directly to that segment. So you don't have to scroll or sort of watch the whole episode if you only want to see a specific part. But again, this is the same for all of the calls that we have. Same for Healy for beginners. Oh, I always click the now playing. Oh, tell that guy to be quiet, please. But yeah, it's like one of our last here. Here's the last Healy for beginners and beyond we did in February. And you kind of go through, this was an hour and a half long call and we covered a ton of topics there. So everything is here, easy to find, easy to use. So this is, anybody new, always tell them, go to this page and just explore, because you can just easily browse through all the different episodes, and you might just find one or two things that catches your attention. You want to, watch a few minutes here and there. So it's super easy to do. And if you want to actually, say you have people on your team that are struggling with a particular issue, maybe you want to send them a reminder, what does the progress indicator mean? So you have a lot of people in your team asking that question. If you just right click this, copy link address, email it to them, when they open that link, it'll take them directly to that segment that you wanted them to watch. So it's a great resource. Freddie, anything to add on the YouTube side?
No, that is awesome, because again, someone like the ear clips, we always get ear clip questions, right? And so just to send that to someone, to have them have an informal but the explanation of why. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So Jake, I also have, if we want to take just a minute, I'll share my screen. Sure. And just show people the back office and the shop account real quick.
Yeah, let me stop here and give you the control. Okay.
Okay, great. So I had it queued up here, and Michael so kindly posted it. But again, if you go to academy.healy.world, right, it's in the your back office, but externally you can use this URL, go directly there. Here is a ton of information. This is another great place for you to come in, start gaining knowledge. And I'm just going to click on just one here today. If we click on the apps and learn more, what that does over here, it opens up.
Freddie, before you, I just want to interrupt real quick. So you'll notice the format here. If you've been to Healy Academy over the last few months, it looks a little bit different now. It doesn't look as clean. Like if you go back to the apps there, Freddie, where you were, you'll see how they're all just kind of in one long list. Before, these were kind of had individual, it was a little more visually appealing here. And that's because we've got big improvements coming to Healy Academy. And this is actually basically a copy of the database that is kind of, we made live while we're working on things in the background. So it's going to have be a lot better, a lot more improvements, a lot more videos and things coming here in the near future. So
yeah, we had it broken
wonders
down
why it looks different.
Yeah, exactly. It is broken down in different categories. So, but we still have the wonderful information. So just if you tap on first steps, for example, right?
It should be down. If you scroll down, it should all there.
Here we go. So here's where all of the videos are, right? And that's going to be true for each one of the different sections. Okay. And so let me just move back. And when you can do it, there we go. There's some other information here as far as the little video from our CEO. You can look at entering the back office, and then links over here to some of the social media accounts that are here as well. And right here, live trainings and events, you can register from this location as well. And then I want to move, and so just take time and come in and explore this. As Jake mentioned, it's in an improvement development right now. The next screen I'm going to move over to is the back office. And you reach this by going to my.healy.world. And as soon as you put your credentials here, it's going to require your username and your password. And then when you click sign in, it's going to allow you to enter into your back office. So I encourage you to come in and explore your back office. Again, here, I'm just showing you, here are some details regarding if you're building your business. And then over on this left side, you'll see when I click open tools, you'll see here's that link for the Academy as well. There's downloading some other training videos. And here's a very important, the referral link, right? So this referral link, when this opens up, you'll see it's going to give some link choices. The one that you're going to be most likely using more often is the Healy Shop USA. And here you're able to see that URL. You can copy that as a referral, right? And there's a reason why you'd want to do that. The reason being is that once you copy that, put in the URL, it's going to give you access to your shop account where you're then able to enter someone as a customer or as a new member, okay? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to move from this screen and I'm going to move over to the shop account. Again, it's here is where you, and again, this address is us.healy.shop. And again, it's going to require some credentials. You can use your email or your username for your member account, put in your password, and you tap log in. What this one allows you to do is to come in and, again, if you were having someone sign up, to come in and choose products, right? And up here, you'll see a whole different menu, right? A whole different lineup of menus. Again, there's online events, world events, about us. So it gives you a lot of great information. This is the area where you'd also come in if you had a need for submitting a support ticket, right? So when you click on the support ticket, it takes you to another screen. And in this next screen is where you would begin that process simply by clicking on submit a new case, right? And I'll just click on that just to give you just a quick view, not going into a lot of details. Here, it's going to start out by asking you a topic. The drop-down screen gives you choices. You choose one, right? Whatever that might be, products, a subtopic. Again, you come over here and you choose whatever that subtopic might be. And then it's going to look at things like your serial number, right? And if you have multiple serial numbers, you'll want to make sure you're addressing the right Healy device. If that's the issue, come in, put in a simple little subject. Let's just say that it was something like master key, for example, right? Give a little description. Again, they may ask you to take a picture of the back of your Healy and include that with this case or this new ticket. You just upload it here and then submit.
Yeah, if you ever have a situation where your device, you're troubleshooting your device, you broke your clip or some sort of damage, that type of thing, definitely you will want to include a picture of the back of the Healy there that shows the serial number, because a lot of people have multiple Healys and want to make sure that we're working on the right one. So
I know we're over a little time, but I want to thank everyone for hanging out with us. Over on this left side under my account, you'll be able to see certain things here like your subscriptions, your devices, right? So if I tap on device, what it's going to do, it's going to open up. It shows me I have two devices. They're both the Residence Edition, and it gives me the serial numbers here, okay? So that applies over here again for your subscriptions. It'll let you know what your subscriptions are. Excuse me. And then there's other information and data like payment methods. If you need to change it for your subscriptions, you'll be able to do all that. Again, this is from your shop account. Okay. Anything else you'd like to add before I stop screen?
Just on there's a bunch of FAQs available as well that people, a lot of the things that we discussed on this call under support, under the support tab there, the FAQ. Like if you go to, say, let's just click on the HealAdvisor Analyse App section there, you'll see, yeah, so, or the one below the HealAdvisor, the Analyze one, a lot of the questions related to master key and stuff like that that we discussed on this call. You can find those there as well. So if you haven't explored this section, definitely go ahead and do so. And we are working on some big improvements for this whole FAQ page as well, as far as the ease of use and the content and what types of questions we have available, or FAQs we have available here. So.
And then you can also come up here into the search bar and type in, something up here just real quick. If we typed in master key, for example, and then did a search,
Why
then
don't
it's
you
gonna
redo that?
then it's gonna pull up the relevant information there. Then you can always hit your back screen to come back in and start your search over again.
Okay. All right. Well, we got a couple minutes over for today, but a lot of great information here, and this recording will be available on our YouTube page that we showed earlier, HealyAmericas.com. It should be up by tomorrow, sometime by tomorrow afternoon. You should see that available there. And other than that, I hope to see and hear from a lot of you all of you on tomorrow's Healy World Meets the World event, the big global event that we have coming up here. It's going to be an amazing 3 hours from 7 p.m. Eastern time, start time tomorrow. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, you can get them at meethealy.world, and definitely do not miss out on that event. We got some amazing announcements and product reveals, and just going to be a great time. Looking forward to it. So.
Awesome. Product reveals. I love it.
Oh yeah.
Great. Again, thanks everyone for showing up. And, again, we'll let you know when our next Healy for Beginners and Beyond is going to be taking place. Other than that, hey, come and join us on Tuesdays for Tech Tip Tuesdays. That's where you get to participate. We do an interaction of questions there. Thanks, everyone. Have a blessed rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.